Hello guys, my name is Tom Antos, and in this video I want to show you a new lens that I've been using with my Sony a6500. So what I got here is a new lens from Laowa. It's for the Sony APS-C size sensors. It's a Sony E-mount lens that's 9mm, if you can believe it. Very wide and also pretty fast, f2.8. Now, do you need a lens this wide? I guess you never really need anything, but it is nice to have a wide-angle lens, especially one that goes this wide. Well, this is actually the first sort of ultra-wide-angle lens that I've actually used on a paid job, on a music video, on various tests and things like that. I'm going to show you guys, and that's because even though it's 9mm, this lens is actually nearly zero distortion. There is actually some tiny bit of distortion if you really look closely, but it's so minimal that even when you're watching, for example, these shots of the buildings, which have perfectly straight lines, you really won't see any distortion. And that's something that really, I would say the biggest thing that impressed me about this lens is that it is crazy wide, but it doesn't look like a fisheye. Some of the other things worth noting about this lens is that it's going to be good for both stills and video. I use it mainly for video, but it is actually mainly designed, I would say, for stills photography because the aperture is clicked. Now, what I like about it is that it's not like these really hard stops when you moving the aperture ring. You can actually adjust the aperture fairly smoothly in case you need to do that in the middle of your shot. The aperture opens all the way from f2.8 and down to f22. This lens is also able to focus fairly close. It can go just under half a foot, 0.4 of a foot distance. So you can get in really close to some objects, and when you open all the way to f2.8 and you really get in close, like when you see these shots here of the tree trunk, for example, or for example, like this shot here with my wife, where I was like really close up, in her face, you could say. And for example, like these shots here with the flowers. All of these shots, as you can see, give you a really nice shallow depth of field, even though it's, again, a 9mm lens, which is kind of unheard of to have a wide-angle lens such as that and still be able to get really shallow depth of field. Now, of course, if you close down the lens, you're going to get even sharper performance, but that's not to say that this lens can't perform or isn't sharp enough when it's all the way open at f2.8. For example, when you're looking at these shots here, just looking across the buildings or the street, when I'm open all the way at f2.8, it looks definitely a little bit softer than when I close it down, for example, like in this case to f8. But it's still, still a very nice and sharp image that you're getting. And also another thing I like is I like even the way this lens flares, both when it's all the way open or when you close it down a little bit. The flares look really nice on it. Overall, I gotta be honest, I'm really pleased with this lens, and I think I'm actually going to be shooting a lot more now, actual professional work on these kind of wider, wide-angle lenses. As far as the build quality, it's very small and very light, as you'll notice. Even on the Sony a6500, it looks like a tiny little lens. So it works great on a gimbal, for example. A lot of these shots that I got of this covered bridge or in the park there was done on a gimbal, the Mozwa Air. And as you can see, again, it just bounces very easily. It's and it's just easy to carry even when you're hand holding it. Now, when you're walking with this lens or just doing any kind of handheld work, because it is such a wide-angle lens, it's fairly easy to get nice and smooth shot. Of course, when you're shooting on the camera like the one I have up here, which is a Sony a6500, or similarly, for example, if you were to shoot on a6300 and so on, and you're shooting in 4K, because you're shooting with such a wide angle, especially on the edges, you're going to see sometimes a little bit of this rolling shutter effect because there's so much information being squeezed into the corners of the image. So I would say definitely you want to be careful when you're hand holding it and you're shooting in 4K because if you want to avoid the rolling shutter effect. At the same time, for example, on this camera, a6500, I could enable the in-body image stabilization. But from my tests, when I did that, it actually didn't really seem to help. And I would even say in some shots that actually, I think it made it even worse. Kind of made the the shakiness and the rolling shutter kind of a little, a little bit more noticeable, at least I think to my eyes. So definitely you want to, I would say, stay away from the in-body image stabilization and just simply use this lens and use it on a gimbal or just handheld it. Like I said, it's a wide-angle lens, so you can really handheld it and get nice smooth shots. Just be careful how you walk with it, right? I would say don't hold it with one hand like this, because those micro vibrations are going to be visible in the corners. I usually would just have two hands on it, and then I was able to get fairly smooth shots. Anyways, getting back to the build quality of it, it is actually all metal or aluminum. I'm not actually sure. Even the ring itself is made of some kind of metal. Not that you really need the sunshade, but it is there if you want to use it. So that's nice. The front thread is 49mm. As you can see, the glass element itself is fairly small, so you can use various size filters and things like that. For most of the shots that I was getting outside with this lens, I would attach a variable ND filter. The one I use is from Aurora, and it's the PowerXND filter. I have various sizes of these great ND filters. If you guys want more info, I did a review of those. So yeah, it works great with that, and because this way it will allow you again to use that, that really, or get those really nice shallow depth of field shots, even though you're shooting with such a wide angle lens. Because when you open all the way at f2.8 and you shoot, for example, with S-Log, on the Sony a6500, your lowest ISO is going to be ISO 800, and in that case, you really definitely going to need some kind of a glasses for your lens. So a variable ND filter like the one I have is a great option. Yeah, so overall, like I said, the build quality is really nice. All metal body, nice, just like I said, well built lens, solid, but yet at the same time it's fairly small and light. The aperture ring is clicked, but it's fairly smooth, so I like that. You can use it for video. The same thing with the focus ring. It is a manual lens, if I haven't mentioned it, by the way. So it is a fully manual lens, but it's very easy and very fast to focus also, because the focus ring goes all the way from here you can see from infinity to 0.4 of a foot distance, and it's about, what is it, like a 40-50 degree maybe turn, so you can easily turn it with just your hands, so you can go from one extreme to the next very easy. And what I do like is that the ring is smooth, the focus ring, yet at the same time if you let go of it, it will not just move on its own. You do have to actually move it, actually put a little bit of force in there, but it's smooth. So overall, nice quality lens. I'm very surprised again how cool it looks, like how wide of a shot you can get with this, yet how you don't see any, pretty much you don't notice any of a sort of that typical fisheye distortion where the horizon looks skewed, or kind of, things just get deformed, especially on the corners. So again, very nice lens. So if you like shooting wide angle, but you don't like that fisheye look, I would say take a look at this lens. And I know Laowa actually has a few other wide angle lenses that they've designed for the Micro Four Thirds, for example. So I think I'm gonna try to check out some of their other wide angle lenses, and hopefully share my experience with you guys. But anyways, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, if you are subscribed but you want to also be notified of all the videos I upload, then make sure you hit that bell notification button, and then the same thing on Facebook. If you'll follow me, turn on the notifications. Once again, my name is Tom Antos, and this has been kind of a quick overview of the Laowa 9mm f2.8 0 or near zero distortion wide angle lens. I'm going to be definitely, like I said, using this on further jobs and things like that. So if you watch my videos, just stay on the lookout and see if you can spot some of these other crazy wide angle shots I'm going to be getting with this on my future videos. Anyways, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Bye.